We are live.
All right. Follow the same protocol. Is that wins and then
Yeah, yeah, we might keep with the same
25
protocol.
minutes each.
Hmm?
Um, yeah, so the wins for me, I think finally the webinar is making sense. It's working. It's it's like finally the webinar is like at a point where I feel I'm giving them the aha moment and they're not walking away with a lot of like objections anymore. Like
Hmm.
the only objection at some point is probably the price objection, but really that's the one that you figure out with a lot of different elements and different angles to overcome that objection. But other than that, it's coming together to the point where people get it. And I think the big differentiation was like comparing it to having a live hourly accountability coach. And if you compare that, there's basically and making it clear that this is live hourly accountability coaching in many ways. So if you can go get that person, it will double your productivity and it will cost you $30,000-$40,000 a year to do that. Or you can join our program and get the endless blocks and all of those things. So yeah, I think that clarity, that juxtaposition is like probably the most important. Like first of all, I solidify in their mind the reason why it's working is because of the live hourly accountability coaching, not because you're in a fucking Zoom room. Because
Right.
everyone makes the assumption that it's a Zoom room. So the first thing we blow apart is the assumption that it's a Zoom room.
Right.
Well, if you have a board meeting in a Zoom meeting, do you call it a Zoom room or do you call it a board meeting?
Right. Right.
And you call it a board meeting. Similarly, this is not a Zoom room. Yeah, we use Zoom, but this is live hourly accountability coaching, right? We just Zoom is the but yeah, so what really happened last week was we had what 28 people show up for the live webinar, out of which 4 or 5 were already like not the right people for it. But let's just say 28 people who showed up, and we had 4 sales, which is kind of like which finally makes sense to me. Like that's like if I can get people to experience focus blocks, which was right around 17 people, 16
Yeah.
people, then I know that I can close 20% of them, probably more as we continue to improve the webinar, which I was hoping for, but I wasn't getting to that earlier. But I think this time it made sense.
Yeah.
The mechanics made sense and the objections kind of fell apart. So yeah, it's good. So even after all that spent, we're at right around $400 a day right now, $400 a day. At least we're break even as of today,
Yeah.
as in all our ad spend is already recouped.
Well, I mean, that's even if you can just do that, that's, I mean, obviously doing a little bit better than that is ideal. But even if you just do that, it's not like you're signing on people for a one-time thing, right? They're annual members. Now, yeah, the renewal rate may not be high, but even if it's 50% renewal, that's still, it's compounding revenue. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, we have to do way better than that, but it's a good starting point.
yeah.
If like it's the first month, or not first month, like first 20 days of running ads now, no? Yeah, something like that. So we're just starting on this journey, and now I think the question, and we're going to talk more about that part. So, what about you? What's your victory? Wins?
Let's see. It was a little bit sparse since I've been gone, but I mean, the big win, one of the big ones was I got a ton of information at the Grow with Video live conference I went to on. I know the direction that I need to take with organic content, right? Why it wasn't working as well. I feel like I've got at least like 6 or 7 actionable things that I know will make an improvement, which is good. So that was a big win, getting all of that. Uh, Let me see what else. I mean, the other one is that I have, this one might seem like a small one, but I've basically automated the bookkeeping. I have figured out the plan. I'm still working on the last little bits of this, but even though I'm investing a little bit of time here, once I get this done, then it's just going to be so much easier. And the thing about it too is it's not just automating it; it's getting it down to the level of detail that is very good for, I can tell each product, each subscription service, how much money was made in each one. So I feel like that's going to help a lot with the business in general, getting the heartbeat of the business. So that's a pretty big win for me. And yeah, I think that's about it. I didn't have much. I came back and I was like overwhelmed. I had like all this stuff. Like yesterday, I was just scrambling, like super stressed. And then I realized, like this morning, I just went and looked at what I had planned, like what I always tell everyone else to do. And I just moved the stuff back, right, to what made sense for the time I had allocated and prioritized things that needed to get done. And so now I'm back on track, so I think that was a win too, is like figuring that out instead of going into scramble mode and staying in scramble mode. I always try to remember, never be in a hurry, move quickly, but don't rush. Right.
And move fast, but don't hurry.
Yeah. But once you're hurrying, then you get into a bad mental state and you have to stop that by slowing down and replanning, thinking about it. So it was a good victory to have done that. So.
Yeah. That's good, man. Okay. So shall we talk? Okay. You want to go? You want to talk about what's going on with your business?
Yeah, let me see so there's not a huge amount to update right now because I was at the conference. I've got a bunch of things that are in progress with that. So sales are looking good for the Well That Never Ends Dry with the sales team. I still need to review the calls that they're and get a better messaging. What I've been doing though is having them send me people. So if someone if they make a sale, they book a 15-minute call with me personally to lock in the sale, because we had a refund or two, and
from their initial sale already.
Right.
So they made what, 6 sales?
I think the total, I have to look at the total. I think it's like 7 sales total.
And they already refunded 2?
Well, one of them was a refund on a downsell. So there's only one real refund. Let me see.
Well, that downsell doesn't count as a sale.
Right. It's not. Yeah. It's just a downsell. So it's not a real sale. It was like a $500 downsell. But yeah. So anyway, I think jumping on a 15-minute call with them, I can solidify the deal. Right. And I'll have to eventually teach them how to do this, but again, it's probably worth it though, at least at this point, to spend the time doing that. So I'm working on, so that's going good. I need to send more leads.
What does that mean, like 15 minutes to solidify the deal? What does that mean? Is that like a bonus they get as a result of joining the group?
The way that I have structured it is I've made it so that I'm having them tell them that John would like to get on a 15-minute call with everyone who's joined the program, just to, make sure that he agrees that you're a good fit for the program, and to answer kind of questions. Right. So it's almost like a requirement to get in. Right. So, we've kind of structured it that way.
So right? They put the money, they have to buy the program and then they have to get on the call with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the person who's buying is thinking, okay, so you're asking me to pay $5,000, but then you're saying I'm not even sure if I'm getting in the program.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So, well, I mean, it's not really that. It's more like it's not that. I mean, it's pretty much just like, just a double check. Like John wants to meet everyone who's getting into the program, that to make sure that things are good. So it's sort of like more of a checkpoint. So
yeah,
it also gives people a chance to like one-on-one meet me, and then I can address what I do on the call. as I ask them, a little bit about themselves and what they're looking to get out of the program and when struggles they're facing, so I can set them up to know how the program is going to solve their problems. Right. Once they know that, then they're much more likely to stick. And I set out a small plan for them right then, so that there's some continuity, so they're looking forward instead of just because if they just jump into the program, they just start looking at the course, and especially if they haven't done a coaching call, or even if they're just put right into a coaching call, I feel like they might feel a little displaced. So it's the onboarding right now.
Agreed.
Eventually,
This is something we had to do with Quantum Leap too.
yeah,
They would get people all excited, but then they would cancel um, a week or two down the line because they're like, oh, or a month down the line, they would want to cancel. And what I finally figured out was that they needed an onboarding to get, understanding of what this program is all about and how it will help them the most. But then the next level revelation I had, which was after I did the onboardings, was the guys who need onboarding were the worst clients anyways.
Yeah.
So they should not have anybody been onboarded. We should have just not taken them on.
Yeah. I think this will,
yeah, because they were kind of looking for too much of hand holding, and quick fix kind of people, and they were just not the right people. The people that were the right people didn't really need that much. So I'm just giving you my perspective on what happened in Quantum Leap. Doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen or that's what's happening with you guys. Just like what I saw unfold with me trying to do onboarding, only to realize that they were just not the right people.
Yeah.
And the right people didn't need onboarding.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think that I'll probably end up training someone to do the onboarding eventually. But
I think for a $5,000 program, you need some sort of an onboarding for sure.
Yeah,
it's different when you're selling like $2,000-$3,000 or $5,000 program.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you get the data on the spreadsheet and stuff?
I have. Well, they sent me a report. It's not quite to the level that I.
The numbers you asked for, did they give you those numbers?
Yeah, but I still need to make sure that I need the dates on. Let me see where I haven't had much time to I'm still behind an email because I've been at the conference, so I haven't really looked through. He sent me a funnel pipeline stats for May 16th through 22nd. So
okay,
it doesn't have exactly everything I want here. He has total setter call bookings 30, scheduled closing calls 6, number that showed up 5, canceled or no showed 1, closed 2, no closed 2, close still in progress, follow-up has been scheduled for 1. So it's good. It's a start. I still need to get them to give me a little bit more information.
30 setters to 6 closers.
Yeah.
Well, it really depends on the quality of the audience you have there.
Yeah. And it looks like, of the closing calls.
2 out of 4 is pretty good.
Yeah. And it might be 3 if that one goes through. So we'll see. Yeah.
So the setter is eliminating those people who are just not even right fit for this. And these are all coming from IG?
From where?
Email and IG. Email and Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Do you see which container is performing better, or you don't know right now?
I don't know right now. That's another part of the stats that I need to get them to start paying attention to, right? So I've got specific links that I'm using as pretty links, but they need to either implement UTM tracking on their side, or just even simpler thing is just have multiple ClickFunnels pages and send to send the traffic to the ones, and then you can see which ones are converting.
So 30 people booked the setter call. How many people actually showed up
for the setter calls?
No, on the landing page.
That's the data that I'm missing. I need that data. I want to know how many people showed up. So I want to.
And how many people applied? How many emails did they collect?
Right. Yeah. I need to get the information on the conversion rate on that
But that
page.
should already be there in your funnel, right? You should have that data inside of your whatever.
I don't have the data because they have the landing page on their site.
Oh my God, dude, I don't like this at all. They have the landing page, they have the email follow-up sequence,
Mm.
they are collecting the money.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's
No,
the whole point, is that they're doing the sales process, right? I'm
no, these are your leads.
It doesn't matter. That's not the way that this is being run right now. That's not my concern at all. I don't care about that at all at this point. I care about getting the system working right now. Once that's working, then I'll look at some of those other issues. But I didn't want to set this up like at this point, right? I wasn't going to hire a sales team. I was going to do webinars and do the things. So if I was going to do this, it was going to be done for me, right? Because I don't have the bandwidth at this point. I can't handle both of those things at the same time. So that's why I want them to be irresponsible for all of that end of it. I'm just responsible for sending them leads at this point. And in the future, that may change, but at this point, I just want to focus on generating leads. That's the thing that I can leverage and do the best. So
Yeah. But you sent what, 3, 4 emails, right? So it's 3 emails, 4 emails from your database, right?
yeah. I need to send. I'll probably send one. I'll probably send an email out. I might send one out today. I got to see on that, but the idea is to probably start sending once a week, right? Some not really hard pitches, but just kind of softer pitches towards.
Once a week from Bulldog, once a week from Simple Programmer.
Yeah.
So you get 200 to 300 clicks, or how many clicks do you get off each of those emails?
Let me see what we're looking at.
1% click.
Let me see. I don't think for Bulldog. It's weird. Bulldog list does not do as well. I think because I don't know. A lot of people that are coming into the list now are coming in from the funnel, the confidence funnel. So sometimes when it gets promoted on TikTok or whatnot, hundreds of people sign up, and those people are not very responsive. Let's see. The last one got a 0.3% click rate. Yeah,
that's not the standard for you, right? Like, what's the average for you?
I mean, 0.5, 0.4. It's definitely around. I'd say 0.5 is about the standard.
What's your average open rate?
Open rates are about 17% on the list right now. So
you need to do some cleanup, I guess.
Yeah, I need to do a cleanup on the list. I did a little bit of a cleanup on the list, but I need to do a better cleanup on it now. So
yeah, you need to get back to 20% or so.
Yeah. And then Simple Programmer, though, that one, it just, what determines this as well, and this is something that I'll have to adapt to as well, is that if people come from video, right, then they are more likely to not open emails or read emails, especially long emails, right? If people come from Simple Programmer, they're coming from a blog, so they're much more likely to read the emails. Let me see what Simple Programmer, because Simple Programmer open rate is like 25. Yeah, 25%. Some of them were, this one from a few weeks ago was 37. Oh, but I send it to US audience, right? Or to Western audience.
Segmented. It's hard to go from 25 to 37 without segmenting.
Yeah.
Impossible, more or less.
Because there's really no point. I don't want to send this offer to non-Western audience, because if they click and they're just going to waste people's time, right? Like, we don't want to put bad leads in the funnel. So
yeah. I mean, how big is your list on Simple Programmer now? 25% is good. And 1% click on that one?
No, that had a 0.7% click, so almost 1% click. Simple Programmer list, like the total list is 53,000, but
the US list.
Let me see what the US list basically, or Western list is,
Western, okay, all of
yeah,
West.
is only about 12,000. So
Hmm. Wow.
yeah.
Well, 12,000 that you can identify. There must be a whole lot that you can't identify.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good at identifying based on IP, right? So,
Okay.
but there's probably some segment that's not identified.
So you have, where the hell is all this traffic? India, China, where are you getting traffic from then?
On
If
Simple
it's not
Programmer,
Western. Yeah, if it's not West. Like, where is all this list located?
yeah, I mean a lot of it. Well, there's a few different things. A lot of it is India. Let me log in and see what it
Like,
looks like.
probably 50% of your list is India in that case.
I also have my remember I also have my book published in a lot of different languages, including Chinese. There's a lot of Chinese that are in there too, which China is not necessarily a bad market
Mm-hmm.
actually, but let me see here. What's the stats? But it's hard to communicate. Like a lot of there a lot of Chinese people aren't going to sign up for an English speaking program.
Yep. Well, the list, I mean, the open and click through rates, I mean, you probably are getting what? Bulldog is what, 20,000, 30,000 now?
The list, yeah, yeah, it's almost 30,000.
30,000, you're going to clean it up, it's probably going to be 25,000. So, yeah, I mean, you have 70,000 people, at least 70, 80,000. You're not broadcasting it to everyone. So, let's say you're only sending it to 30, 40,000.
Yeah,
1% click, that's like 400 clicks. How many
yeah,
applications do you get out of it?
yeah. That's what I have to find out. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think that overall, like Instagram will be the better because there's so many people that respond on Instagram. And the following on Instagram, I'm almost at 100K followers now on
How
Instagram.
much do you get in terms of when you post one of those like TM need this? How many people respond on those usually?
I would say anywhere from 50 to 100.
That's really good.
Yeah. I'm sure
Yeah.
there'll be some diminishing returns on it,
Yeah,
but
yeah, that'll go down over time. And off, but 50 to 100 is a lot of people who are messaging, who are taking that action,
yeah, yeah,
who are personally messaging you. That's like more more qualified audience in the sense, not necessarily about how much money they're making, but in the sense that they've taken action compared to just clicking on an email.
mhm.
That's way more valuable action.
Yeah, exactly. Because if they're directly outreaching, right? They're
They
making
are
it
saying, I want this. You're
right.
not saying you must have this.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
It changes the game. Yeah, that's good. Have they sold any 5K program yet?
Like straight up 5K.
Mm-hmm.
No, they haven't tried. They've been just doing payment plans. So
Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, you still get a recurring payment,
yeah, yeah.
recurring monthly income from this while you're growing this. You want to share any specific things you're going to do in your organic work going forward? Like, what are the specific moves you're going to be making as a result of?
Yeah, the biggest thing is narrowing down the niche more specifically to the message, which is going to be. I still am like figuring out exactly how that looks, but basically financial freedom, right?
Mhm.
So there is something I was thinking about the other day, though. This element of the philosophy and like there was some like a lot of the talks I did on like principles and things like that, those really resonate with people, so I have to incorporate that still into it. But I think that it's similar. I think you see Alex Hermosi doing a very similar thing with his talking about
But
business.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
compare your business to Alex Hermosi's business at all.
No, but the way that you generate organic traffic, because people don't want to just learn the financial freedom aspect of things.
Well,
It's
let me tell. I
yeah,
don't know about who you were talking to, but if I'm going to learn financial freedom,
Mm.
Or if I'm going to learn any specific topic, I'm going to go to the guy who talks about that topic more than the other guy who's talking about 25 topics.
Well, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So
So if Robert Kiyosaki started talking to me about, started teaching me productivity, I'd be like, dude, it sounds cool, but I'm not like, thank you, but no thanks.
yeah.
Can you just talk about investing in finances? Because that's what I come here for.
Yeah, it still has to relate to like how like the implementation. The thing about financial freedom is that it's not just a strategic like a strategy of how to invest money, right? It is lifestyle, it is mental frameworks. There's a lot of pieces involved in that. So if you just give someone the tools, if I just tell them how to invest in real estate, they're not going to become financially free. If I just tell them how to build a business, they're not going to become financially free. Like the real work in that is not just knowing what to do, but being able to execute and do it, which is so critical. So that's where a lot of that comes into play. So I have to still like, again, what I'm cutting out is the fitness stuff, which I've already kind of phased out already, and most of the dating and relationship content, that's all like going down to basically nothing. And
So
then
you're cutting it out, dating content?
I mean, there'll still be some relationship type of content in there, because I pull in people on Instagram with those ones are the ones that go viral. Uh, but I'm trying to put everything to a spin towards the financial freedom, right? So I have to still kind of figure out the strategy of it, but I have, I've got some good ideas on how to do this. So the biggest shift that'll be happening. And then the next thing is going through the back catalog of YouTube videos and doing thumbnails, testing. That's going to be huge for rebuilding the traffic there. So
What
yeah.
about the simple programmer? Simple programmer stays course.
Yeah, for now there's just not, I mean, if I had more bandwidth, I would work on that, but for now it'll just kind of stay the course. I mean, I do like your idea of making it more like becoming a financially successful developer, right? Like moving it in that direction, which I think I will do eventually, but it's in terms of bandwidth, I don't have enough bandwidth to do that right now. So
Yeah, I mean, you don't need any bandwidth to do that.
yeah, because I have to make videos and content
But
based
what
on
I'm
it.
trying to say is you just only send content related to this and don't send any other content. That itself changes the game or changes the trajectory of that list.
Yeah.
Because part of the confusion for the list, and this is something that I have been figuring out now more and more, is like I've basically stopped sending anything related to 1,000 books for the last almost 7, 8 months now. And that's, creating more of like association of what we're doing, productivity, and that's the only thing. And now email open rates are better, click-through rates are better, performance on webinars is better, because people are like, okay, I'm not getting 25 different messages from this guy anymore. He only
Right.
talks about productivity, and that's all I hear from him.
Right.
So I take notice, right? Earlier, one like I would promote mental toughness one week, mental toughness book summary pack. Then a month later, I'm promoting social skills book summaries, and then
Yeah.
productivity book summaries, and then entrepreneurship book summaries, and then so on and so forth. And it was like they were not sure which of these opportunities to latch onto anymore. Kind
Yeah.
of Russell Brunson was talking about how he made the switch finally, like when he, he had ClickFunnels, his partner sat him down and said, okay, if we're going to do this ClickFunnels thing, you're not going to do any other thing.
Right. Yeah,
And Russell
exactly.
got really anxious about that idea. He's like, man, I have all these ideas. I want to do this. I want to do that, blah, blah. They're like, no, for the next 2 years, you're going to commit to promoting only ClickFunnels and nothing else.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's when my business took off. And I promoted only one thing and nothing else, because it changed the trajectory of what my audience was listening from, like change the way my audience perceived me going forward, because I
Yeah.
was just a ClickFunnels guy, nothing else guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I've still, one of the things I'm grappling with the whole thing is in narrowing down more to the focus, I have to make sure that I don't lose the thing that I actually like doing, right? So that's the thing is like,
Uh,
because
what is
that,
the thing that you like doing? Because I think that's what's
yeah.
the
Well,
friction inside.
yeah, I mean, because the heart of Bulldog mindset, right, which is developing mental toughness, is sort of like a David Goggins type of approach to life. But that has to be, so the way that I'm trying to, again, I'm trying to like combine these things and weave them together. But I think the way that that looks like is that's the approach that you take in achieving financial freedom, right? So it's like it's the mindset that you have, right? So I'm trying to figure out, all the things. Like I don't really need to talk about running in that, but in some ways it makes sense to talk about it in terms of developing mental toughness, right? There's those aspects of like, because really my goal with Bulldog Mindset has been to help people develop a philosophy for life that's going to make them successful, right? As men, specifically men, right? Masculinity is a part of that. So, how does this relate? How do I do the thing that I want to do and still keep it narrowed down? That's the big challenge, right? Because I don't want to just build a completely financial based business. It's fine, but it's not what I'm like, I can only
Excited
talk.
about.
Exactly. So it's got to
That's a
be,
challenge.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
a challenge. So
I feel you.
yeah.
I
Otherwise I would just
definitely
go
feel
all
you.
in on just talking about financial stuff all the time. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I
not
feel the
really,
struggle. I understand.
yeah.
It is real.
And so,
Um,
because actually, so I was looking at, in what, kind of keeps me oscillating on this, or vacillating, is that I just saw a clip on my Instagram that was from my speech at the conference last year on like the
mm,
11, like the principles I live by, right?
mm,
And like that stuff was really good. Like that got me fired up. That's the stuff that I'm super, super
mm,
passionate about, right? So
mm.
I don't want to lose that aspect of it, because that's where, but at the same time, I don't want to be all over the place. So it's a tough balance. And also a lot of people that do, when I do talk to them and they do buy the program, they do talk about like, oh yeah, I've been following you for a long time. Like, they talk about the mental toughness, they talk about the other aspects of things, right? So that, that's what convinces them to buy, is because they trust me, because they've seen what I've had to say about
But that's good
my
for
philosophy.
organic audience. It's not going to be
Right.
it's not going to be the case for cold audience at all.
Right, exactly. Yeah. When I go to cold audience, then it doesn't really matter anyway with the content that I'm making, right? Because they're not consuming the content. They're consuming the specific funnel that's been created for them, which is not an issue. So
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just that art. Then that content is your that's a hobby, not a business anymore.
the content, right, the organic content.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of dilemma, right? The other potential of what I could do is I
because if
could
the
split
content is
off.
not supporting the business, then it's not a business anymore. It's like
Yeah,
it's your it's the thing you enjoy doing, and you do it, but content has to serve the purpose of supporting the business.
yeah, yeah,
If you do it under the umbrella of the business,
exactly. Yeah.
it's a tough one, man. I feel you because yeah, my Quantum Leap webinar does great. Do I want to promote Quantum Leap all the time? Not really. I want to still promote Focusbox because I love
Yeah,
Focusbox more than Quantum Leap.
right.
So it's like no matter how much someone tells me go run Quantum Leap webinar, I keep trying to do the Focusbox webinar because I love that product so much more than Quantum Leap.
Yeah,
So I know what you're saying. I know the struggle there. It's a
yeah,
very it's almost like you would do anything to figure that part out rather than do that thing.
yeah. And there's like, and again, at that conference too, right, there were kind of two viewpoints on it, right? There's the logical viewpoint where, people like Shalene were like, okay, just make, when they go to your page, they see all the same stuff, right? It's like, that's the topic specifically, right? Which makes sense, obviously, right? That's going to get you more
Mm-hmm.
followers and more. But then there's the Gary V sort of viewpoint that's like, it doesn't matter what you do, talk about what you love, what's interesting to you, and you'll connect with certain people. And both are right, in the sense that but at the same time, there's trade-offs between the two, right? There's like a risk of doing, you can grow a very big audience, obviously, by just talking about what you like, a personality driven business, but it's not going to be the specific audience that is going to buy necessarily the thing that you're selling, even though you might become very popular.
I think the challenge that that as you said, like you can talk about anything you want in the organic world. That's okay in the organic world.
Yeah.
But as soon as you try to go to paid media, that stuff just doesn't scale because it's too all over the place.
I think one answer to this dilemma, which again, this has been the dilemma that I've faced for a long, long time, maybe to figure out how to take whatever you want to talk about and relate it to financial freedom, right? Because just like writing a good email copy where you tell a story and then at the end you put the hook in that that takes it to the thing you're trying to sell. I think that might be the solution, is to like talk about
Yeah,
things but
yeah,
make them be like, because you could really take anything, right? It's like,
yeah.
you could talk about how, if I was talking about running, right, and the mental toughness, how it's like a marathon. Like trying to become
Mm-hmm.
financially free is not a sprint, right? So many people trying to buy crypto, and so you can segue any of those things into the message. I think that's what I really have to do, is like every piece of content I create, I have to say, okay, I want it, what kind of content what do I want to talk about? And then how do I make this angle so that it's about financial freedom at the end, right? Or that it relates to that, right? I think that's because there'll be some things that are just specifically about financial freedom, but
The thing is, yeah, I know what you're saying, and the challenge is that to break through the noise, at some point you do need to pierce through, right? Blunt force doesn't work.
right, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Blunt force is like when you have a lot of content in a lot of different areas. To me, that's blunt force, right? But to go fast, you have to pierce through.
right,
And pierce through means you have to get specific on one thing
right, yeah,
to go
exactly,
fast.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's like blunt force, blunt force, blunt force pushing. I think that's the differentiation in the way you would do this, or way whatever you pick. It's just a differentiation. Like, do I want to blunt force my way through this? But the question then is like, what are you building this for? Because if you are happy doing that, then it doesn't matter. If you're
yeah,
happy going this path of the blunt force, more, and I don't mean to say blunt force is bad or sharp is good. I'm just saying that if you choose to take the sharp route, you will have to cut out all options.
yeah, yeah. And maybe
Right?
the item is, or the answer also is eventually doing paid traffic, that where that goes to the high ticket program. I create the content that I want. That's the mindset program stuff. But I don't know. I still have to
That
kind of
again, that's like you're trying to go in two different routes, and any of these
yeah,
to scale and get to any kind of number is, again, remember we were talking about efficiencies of scale. You lose that efficiency of scale, and then again you're kind of treading water because you can't be running paid media and running a whole, all of those things while also doing something completely different on the side.
yeah. No, that's true. I
You
mean,
have to commit to one, like as Russell would say, one product, one funnel, one
yeah.
acquisition source to break through.
I think one thing too that troubles me in the whole, problem of this is that there are a lot of guys that want to have it all. They want to, and that's what Bulldog Mindset kind of has been, is they want to get in shape, they want to have girls, they want to build a business, right? They want all those things, that's my true tribe of guys that get that mindset, right? They have a David Goggins type of
Everyone
mental
wants
toughness.
that. It's
Right.
not a lot of guys. Every
Right.
guy wants that.
Right.
So that's not like you're telling the truth about that. Every guy wants that.
Right.
But the difference is, does every guy want to learn all of that from you? Or will they just learn the basics from you, but then they'll go to pay someone else $20,000 to go deep on the other thing, and then pay someone else $20,000 to go deep on other thing while you're still telling them the basic stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here's how it's going to play out. You're going to introduce them to the idea that, yeah, you can have it all. Like, you can have girls, and you can have business, and you can have real estate, and you can have financial freedom. Here's what if you teach all of that, they'll say, okay, this is great. This is really good information. Let me pay $5,000 to go on a confidence boot camp or a dating boot camp to some
Right.
guy, right? So they're
Yeah.
going to pay $5,000, and they're going to become their customer. Then they're going to be like, oh, let me pay this guy $20,000 to help me build my business. Business only, nothing else. This
Right.
guy knows how to do high ticket sales. So this guy knows how to build business of this kind. Some other random guy who's gonna get them on the business coaching path. And then there's another guy who's like, let me show you how real estate is done. And they're gonna be like, so it's like you become the general, you become the MD right now. And
Right.
MD is good, but now you're the primary care physician.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
No, that's
So you can choose to be the primary care physician, or you can choose to be the brain surgeon, but you can't be both.
right. Yeah.
Because in the mind of the customer, you don't have positioning if you try to do both.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So every guy wants all of these things, but they will choose different people to get those different results from. They will never choose one guy to get all these results from.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless there's something specifically unique, a unique mechanism that, or some unifying thing, right? So that's
Yeah,
where
but even then, you're
be,
not going to pay one guy to teach you all of those. You're going to pay
right.
other guys.
Right.
I'm not going to pay a doctor to be my brain surgeon and my cardiac surgeon and my orthopedist. I will
Right.
not.
Exactly.
No matter if you're God, you tell me you just came from the heavens this morning and you can do everything, I'll still be like, dude, sounds good. I'm a fan, but I'm going to go to this brain surgeon today.
Yeah, that's a good
So you
point.
cannot defy the gravity of marketing and positioning.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
The gravity of marketing and positioning will require you to find a position.
What do you think about guys like Ed Mylett, though? Like the whatchamacallit, the 45 hard or whatever.
I don't know the guy enough, but I guess I saw him at Grant Cardone's event.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about across the board, every person you think of, you have a specific thing that you're associating them with.
Yeah.
Or at least that's where they started when they broke through. Yeah. And now they've gotten bigger in that. So instead of going wide initially, they all went narrow initially, and then they took on the second thing and the third thing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Grant Cardone, everyone thinks real estate. He might be doing other things, but real estate is what we think of, right? He tried to do his social media marketing thing, didn't work. He did all sorts of other things, didn't work. He's back to doing real estate.
Right. Yeah, the real estate. Yeah.
Tony Robbins, you want to be Tony Robbins, right? But Tony Robbins, initially, he was just doing like phobias and fears and all of those things. That's how he broke through initially. And then he went into personal development, and then he went to relationships and productivity. And like he went one step at a time, like breaking through each of those, and trying to do Tony Robbins today is probably very, very, very hard. Try to be that broad.
Yeah, and I think that his focus is on one specific thing, like for pulling people in, right? Because he has books on specific topics, and then those funnels lead to a feeder. Then when someone's at a seminar, then they get pitched the other aspect of their life. So
yeah, I mean, we have to do what Tony was doing like 30-40 years ago, not what Tony's doing today.
Yeah.
Right. Well, 30 years ago, how he was playing the game. That's what needs to be figured out, because that's where so yeah, I think guys want it all, but I still do not believe they will pay you, because the guy who wants it all will pay $30,000 for a business coach and $30,000 for a real estate coach and $20,000 for a dating coach. He will.
Yeah, I think that's.
The only guy who will not is the guy who's at the starting phase.
Right. But the thing that's
As soon as he
stopping,
develops a certain
yeah,
level of competency, he goes and buys a higher level program somewhere else.
I think the issue though is that the biggest factor, it's not that people don't know how to make money or get in shape. Maybe they don't know how to get girls, like that one I'll give you, but they 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 lack the mindset to accomplish those goals, right? It's not a
I
matter of understanding or knowledge, it's a
you're
matter of
telling me their
mindset.
problems. I get that part.
Yeah.
I get that part, right? So you're saying the problem is this, and the mindset is the solution. Having the right mindset is the solution. But
Right.
people don't pay
For
twenty
mindset, yeah.
thousand dollars for a
Right.
mindset coach. They'll pay 200, 300, five hundred
Right.
dollars for a mindset
But
coach.
they will pay for financial freedom. And if
If
they
that's
understand that the reason why
if
they're going to succeed is a mindset. I don't know. A lot of people that buy the program buy it because they want to do what I've done and I can show them how to do what I've done.
that's not the
Right.
scalable, like that's not really the answer, because what that is
Uh,
organic traffic. Organic traffic's
mhm.
got nothing to do with reality. If you try to take the same offer to some
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
joint venture list, it will not perform because they don't understand why, like who, why. I don't care
Right.
about John, and if they don't care about John, the whole thing falls apart.
But I'm not doing any paid traffic. I'm only doing organic traffic at this point. So
Right,
that's
but
why my focus is on organic.
if all
But
you did was organic, but then you become a blunt force thing, right? Organic
mm,
blunt force thing, you're not able to break through because of,
mm,
you're not piercing through any messaging, because you have so many messages, it's not piercing any
yeah.
specific. You're not able to get laser sharp on any
Yeah.
one of them, because they're like, okay, well, I can get girls and I can do dating and I could do, you know, real estate and business. But then as soon as they get to a certain level, they're going to pay someone else 10, 20, 30K. So you lose out on the big money because you get them and started on the small money stuff.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Yeah. I got to
Very
think about how
rarely,
to.
very few will be like, teach me all. Very, very few, if ever. Most of them will move on to something else.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in the membership that are wanting to learn all the things and
Right, but that's
working out.
why they
But the
are the
beginning
starters.
stages,
They're the
yeah,
starters. They
they're
don't
at the
have any
beginning
more
stage,
money to, like, if you
right?
said, hey, the membership is gonna now be worth $1,000 a month, let's see how many of those will stick around.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, some of them become coaching clients, which do, but
Right, but that's such a small percentage of everything, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's still hitting broad. You're still hitting broadside. You're still, you're hitting this,
yeah,
not like going right through, and
yeah,
that's causing. They will start with you, but they will not end with you. Very few will end with you. That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah,
Very few
yeah.
will say this is the solution, and I don't need another solution in this domain right now.
I just wonder also though, but do you really want to compete with everyone else in the financial space as opposed to having a unique, selling point, right? What
But
is a
then the
unique
unique
selling
selling
proposition?
point, unless it is very clear, it's not there.
Right.
Mindset is
Right.
not
That's it.
unique, man. Dude, the whole world has been preaching mindset stuff for thousands
Yeah,
of
but
years
the
today.
bulldog mindset is unique. It is
The
a
well that
different,
never runs dry is unique. Like, you
right.
really
That's true.
can
That's
make
it.
anything unique that you want it to. Like, you have to
Yeah.
create a USP around it. The E5 book, he talks a lot about it, like the unique mechanism. You can, like, bulldog mindset is unique, but it's not, like, in many ways it's a mindset. Like, we can, it's mental toughness. Mental toughness is not unique. Like,
Yeah.
it's available to all of us. We can read the books on stoicism and figure it out, and we can read Goggins' book and we can figure it out. So it's not unique in that way. It's unique because you have put a system or a framework around it,
Right. Yeah.
and you can do that for any field you choose.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Now I still have to spend some time figuring out exactly how I'm gonna do this, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was thinking about, like, when yesterday we were talking, or day before yesterday we were talking, like, you're like, oh man, I have so many emails. I was like, why does John have so many emails? Like, I was thinking and thinking,
Yeah.
how is that possible? Like, he has to do 2 hours of emails while I do 2 hours of emails in a month these days, more or less.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe 4 hours of emails in a month, and John's doing so much. And then I was like, oh, because he has so many projects.
Yeah, that's why. Exactly.
right? You
Yeah.
have 25 projects. I have one project now.
Right.
That's why I
Exactly.
have very little email load. And my email load, even if it is high, it's very standardized because
Right.
my ops manager, she knows exactly how to respond to each of those emails because it's
Right.
standardized, because the product is standardized, because the support is standardized, because everything we do is standardized, standardized, standardized. So again, it's the like as you were talking about Adam Smith, the economy of scale. Like it's easier for my support staff to handle those emails because there's not much variation
Right.
in
Exactly.
those
Yeah.
emails. Like it's very simple. Like there's only three, four, five kinds of responses that we'll ever create for most people.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah. Yeah. I have to, that's what I'm saying is I have to eliminate all the projects and not take on any new projects. Right. So,
My contention is you will never be done eliminating. Here's my contention, and we can talk about it all we want. Like this is philosophical contention. Okay, you say you should eliminate all these things. I say you should just do one thing.
well, yeah, but they have to
That
be
eliminates everything by default.
it doesn't work that way in the real world. Like if you
It
were just starting
does.
over, no, because you would have to lose your revenue streams. It's not
You don't
it's
have
not
to lose your
practical.
revenue streams to do that. That's not true. Like by the time you lose that revenue stream, you would have built so much of this one.
I know it's a short-term play like that, doing things that way though. It's not
That's
a
not true.
long-term play.
The long term play is to pick that thing and go after it, not try to close out everything.
Yeah,
That's my
well,
contention. That's why I'm
yeah.
saying, like, I do not believe in being able to shut down all of them because that will just, you just revving that thing because there's no limit to when you say, okay, this is done and this is when I start. Unless you have very specific boundaries, you're like, by this date, by this time, or by this event, I will do it. It won't happen like that, right? So it's so easy to be like, okay, well, a little more of that, and a little more of this, and a little more of that. So it never cuts the clean slate. So you never get the clean slate because
Yeah,
you're allowing so many different things to happen.
the thing is to cut off so that new projects don't come in. That's the thing, because then that will, if there's no new projects coming in, then everything will get taken care of.
The
But
thing is to not even do those projects, so then you can just focus on the
I
one
can't
project.
drop the ball on projects that involve other people. There's a lot of partnerships that I have that I'm responsible for. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
you don't have to drop him off one day, but if you have a timeline, then you would.
Right. Well, that's why the things have to be. The big answer is to not take on new work. Right. That's the big thing. Because if I do that, then I'll have all the pieces, and I've removed a lot of the projects, but there's still some projects that are that need to be finished. So
Yeah. Well, I'm still like I. That's your contention. My contention is that it's just too much to try and cut off everything. It's so much easier to just take on the new thing and let everything else die on its own death, and it will happen over time. But I think that's the two different sides of the coin. One is to say, I'll just do this one, or I will close off all of them. Both kind of are trying to lead to the same outcome, just different
right.
approaches to lead to the same outcome and the speed. But anyways, we're almost out of time here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm trying to think of, do you want to do the thoughts or
Yeah, yeah.
okay, let's do them.
I guess I
All right.
got a minute to do it. Um, yeah, okay. So this is something we were talking about in the gym on Thursday. The economy of scale. Adam Smith, when he talked about in the book Wealth of Nations, he talked about economy of scale. But the economy of scale applies to all of us as entrepreneurs, as even as solopreneurs. Let me explain what that means. The more things we have on our plate, the less economy of scale we have to make any one thing work.
Right.
Because the more things we have, the more mental bandwidth our energy spread out over 25 different things. So we never get economy of scale in terms of our own time and energy and effort to get one thing off the ground. So economy of scale is not just about like making a million widgets. It's also about figuring out how can you how can you focus your effort on the few things So you can get economy of scale in that economy of scale of your effort, your time, your energy, right? Compared to compared to like what Adam Smith was initially talking about, which is economy of scale in terms of production and like people being employed. It's your own mental resources being employed, but it's the same exact principle.
Yeah.
Economy of scale only applies when you're focused on one thing and now you're improving every freaking element of it: show up rates and sign up rates and cart pages and email conversions and text messages. And like a webinar by itself, you can have 1,000 different things you can tune up to make it work, or you can just have a webinar, right? So that's the economy of scale when you're just like, okay, let me just make this go. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Economy of scale for individuals.
Yeah, I like that. Mine would be just when you're, when you're in a hurry, you need to slow down and reset the parameters, right? So that always, no matter where you are, that you have a clear path to get to where you want to be, right? So that you don't have more things than you can possibly do. Anytime you start to have that, you're going to veer far off the path. So you have to reset, scale it down, be realistic about what can be accomplished, and put buffers in place so that making forward progress is necessary to but it has to be prioritized. And so when we just have a bunch of stuff that we need to do, we don't have prioritization. It's impossible. So it has to cut back. You have to cut back and then reset the marker and decide what's the new path. So constantly readapt the plan. So
yeah, nice.
All right.